Robbie Ross on screen. 19 tries for the season. And Trent Barrett, another player, making his finals debut here today. By comparison, the likes of Glenn Lazarus, he's lining up for his 25th finals game. Talking about finals football. Bill Harrigan is in the centre. And we are underway. Second match of the final series. Bartram starts the action and almost over the sideline. Newell on the reception. He just had a slight stumble on the way back. And more than 15 metres out from their own line, and now with Howe, and Thompson's over the top. He returned from a knee injury only last week for the Dragons. Vital component in this St. George Illawarra side, and now Lazarus over the 20-metre line. 3 defenders there. To the right side with Kearney. And there's another player making his finals debut today, and that for a man who has played Test football. But never before has he tasted finals football in the NRL. Nicow, a dummy half on the last, and Kamali took it on the 40 and then got a run-up up the runway before he got the kick in, and Patton is back on his own goal line. There's 5 chasers there on young Luke Patton. Youngest player out on either side, Luke Patton at 19. And Ainscough comes in from the wing to get involved and beat Marcus By at first attempt. Well, Phil Gould, a lot has been made about the preparations of these two sides, but what about it, Melbourne? They haven't played a top 8 side since round 21.
No, they beat Cronulla on that occasion and certainly played the lower-ranked teams since then. From what I understand, they've been in camp for the last 7 days, really pumped up emotionally for this one at home. They lost the final here last year and don't want to lose this year.
The Dragons with their first possession. Brown tries the short chip. Timmins on the run through, doesn't gather it in. Surprise tactics from the Dragons.
Yeah, good stuff there from the Dragons. You've got to vary things in this game. Didn't go for the long kick, just a little shorty for the winger. Plenty of speed out there for Timmins. And just couldn't get there. But it's good to see them trying things early in the match. And already St. George Illawarra has shown that they're really switched on with their defence and the way they've had their first set of 6. They had a day off last week against Manly. They were terrible. But, I spoke to Mark Coyne before the match. He says they're pumped and ready to fire.
So from the scrum room, drifting across field, the ball is lost. Dragons can't get to it. It'll be a double knock on. But a Dragons scrum feed 40 metres out from the Melbourne Storm line. Some heavy treatment there on Kamali. It was Robbie Ross came up.
Some tough defence there, but really ball security not good. And this is a great chance now for the Dragons.
And Mundine away with Timmins. Scored 2 tries the last time they played here at Olympic Park. Sean Timmins, in fact, I think he was man of the match. And now a wrestling match develops with Smith, Nicow over the top. Physical stuff from 2 of the forwards. And Brown for Pearson, the juggle. And that time he gets the bump off from Nicow. 35 metres out from the Melbourne line, and Brown. They come to the right with Thompson. Swivels as he gets to the tackle of Howe. In fact, Howe fell off. And Swain and Lazarus were there to clean up. Swinging back to the left with Mundine. A short pass for Smith. Trapped on the 20-metre line. Marquette made the tackle. Smith had the arms free last play. And it comes to the right, and Barrett has lost it. That will be a changeover on the Melbourne 20. First time in the attacking zone for the Dragons, and they came unstuck.
Hold back to me, one.
And now Marcus By has admitted to being lazy this season. He's been disappointed with his form. Right time to return to top form now. Bartram comes up with a heavy tackle. 2-try performance against the Roosters in round 25. Here's Kearney. Blindside, carries inside the Dragons half. And Swain for Kamali, kicking before the last. Ainscough has turned around. The chase is being led here by Geyer. Short in goals as we've come accustomed to here at Olympic Park. Ainscough back to the 10-metre line. Some of the Dragons up against a Melbourne side that have started pretty much spot on. Their kick and chase game is right. Coming off the bye. And the Dragons coming off a 2-point win over Manly at Wynn Stadium, but boosted by the return of the likes of Timmins for this match. And Pearson, he also had the arms free there, tackled by Swain. Last play with the Dragons, kicking from inside the 40. Barrett has driven this one over the head of By, in fact out on the full.
Well, in these conditions today, the fifth tackle options are going to be vital, and St. George have destroyed their last two, where Brett Kamali, two perfect kicks into the end goal and given his side great field position here in the early stages.
And backed up Phil by a penalty to the Melbourne Storm from 30 metres out.
Just looking at the conditions too, Andrew, there's a couple of things. Number one, the ball handling. It'll take both sides 4 or 5 minutes just to adjust to how much they can and can't do with the football. The second thing is both sides are racing up very, very quick in defence, and I notice a lot of players slipping over and having trouble in to reset. I think as this game winds on, both sides will start to move up a little bit slower with their defence line so that they don't make mistakes with their footing.
Interesting enough, as I said, I spoke to Mark Coyne before the match, and he made a comment to me. He said, look, I said he made a well done on a great career. He said, well, look, if I'm needed, I could be available throughout the semi-final series. Now, we all thought he'd retired, he'd finished with an injury, but he said at a pinch, he could probably play. If there's a problem with McGregor or Timmins during the semi-final series, he can come back. So that's good news for the Dragon supporters.
It's been quite a serious back problem for Mark Coyne. Right now, the attention on Matt Geyer, leading point scorer this season with 230. His first kick is wide, but dead. Will come back to the 20-metre line. He didn't appear to strike that one all that confidently, Matt Geyer. And a quick restart from the Dragons. In fact, Melbourne didn't appear to be entirely zeroed in on what was happening there.
Now back to me, have a look over that side.
So they start this set of 6, 5 metres inside the Dragons' half, and now Lazarus crashes inside the 40. Swain takes off from dummy half. This play through them approach of the Melbourne Storm in motion early. And look out. To the right they come. Kamali, then the inside ball. Marquette was there. Wrapped up by Pearson first in with Tracy. Nick Howe. Inside the Dragons 20 now and taking on the line. Fifth tackle. To the right side is Kamali. What kick has he got to supply this time? No kick. He runs and has tackled 5 metres out. Tracy shuts it down in a changeover.
It's just simple stuff there from the Storm. All forward plays there except for the last one where the halfback had a dash at them. He is their best player, Brett Kamali. On that occasion, though, St.George Illawarra handled them quite well. They didn't spread the ball at all and made it easy for the defence.
Come out, oh, big shot on Pearson. It was Howe who came over the top. The Dragons away. Tracy. Short of the 30-metre line. And Thompson able to dump the pass back, but not quite finding the mark. Tracy's with it. Tackle count has restarted for the Dragons. So Harrigan Price first tackle. He ruled that it was jolted out of the arms of Thompson. Here's Mundine. He says he lives for these big matches, finals time. Well, it's time to step up to the plate for Anthony Mundine today. Here's Pearson. And Lazarus makes the tackle. Incredible finals record for Glenn Lazarus. 25th appearance in finals football today. And in the 24 previous games, he's won 17 of 24. McGregor with it. 40 metres out and passing for Patton. On the ground, 35 metres out. Last tackle. Mundine calling for it. It goes to his halves partner, Barrett. Oh, do we go hard on the young bloke? He's having a shocker to start the game. 3 errors now from Trent Barrett. Confidence one would think would be at rock bottom as Marcus Bide takes off. And Swain for Howe. Next 10 metres. We'll get a comment in a moment from Laurie Daly just on this start from Trent Barrett. No one knows the half and 5/8 game better than Laurie Daly, as Kearney is tackled 35 metres out and has been stripped of the ball by Bartram. Second challenge from Wayne Bartram, and Melbourne get another penalty inside Dragons territory.
Oh, it looked like nearly accidental. Wayne Bartram was heading back to mark up and their feet became entangled. And this time not kicking for goal after the first shot. And they'll be attacking within the 20 within a few seconds.
Here they come. Rodney Howe, he ducked into that tackle. It is the Dragons 20. Swain a dummy half, almost forward from there for Lazarus. They do run a fine line with their dummy half passing. Swain takes off for a scamper. And tackled 5 metres out. The two front rowers there for the Dragons, Smith and Pearson. Lazarus at dummy half. Kamali passes put down by Nicow. Knocked back the call, Anderson got to it. Nicow was making all sorts of gestures to the referee as to the Dragon players getting off the man tackled. Martin wrapped up. Very good defence in this set from the Dragons. And Kamali from 10 out. He's kick across field. There's trouble here. Blacklock. Oh, beautiful from Blacklock. Indian goal, and they will walk back to the 20-metre line.
Yeah, I'm quite sure Bill Harrigan was going to award a penalty there for being tackled in the air, but he realised that a 20-metre tap was a greater advantage to St George, took it out to the quarter, and he did caution Stephen Carney on the run.
Well, Laurie Daly, let's take a comment from you, and in particular on Trent Barrett. What a start for him.
Yeah, it hasn't been the best starts for Trent, but he's a wonderful player, and I'm sure he'll work his way into the game. But it's very important for these sides to change the angle of attack, especially in these conditions, because if they come up too fast, you can flat-foot someone.
The Dragons attack. They're now inside the Melbourne half with Thompson. Kearney went in low in the tackle. Brown, Colin Waters out there, and 15! And cops the tackle. First touch. And knocked off balance by Bowden, the two bench players. Their first involvement. And Barrett, the high ball, centre field. Ross rushes up, he's lost it. It's play on for the Dragons. 20 metres out, in fact the tackle count has restarted again. Towed through by Timmins and called back. Oh, that's costly because they had another set of 6 tackles there.
Scrum, they got 6 again. Scrum's going Melbourne's
Big
way.
hit on Colin Ward. Welcome to Olympic Park from Bowden. And then at the end of it, 6 again, it came off Robbie Ross. And Darren Tracy lost the ball in some strong defence.
Being knocked on by St. George.
We've had another set inside the Melbourne Storm 20.
Saints, back to me.
And Ross to the left. Howe's ready again. He's wound up.
Come on back.
Also his first finals appearance today, Rodney Howe. Bowden, angle on his run and runs into Lightvold. Heaviest forward in the Dragons pack. He's on for Craig Smith. And Nicow over the 40-metre line. Now is Swain. Dragons outside backs crept up very quick. In fact, I dare say they were out by or offside by some 2 or 3 metres. Kick out on the full. 12 minutes gone here in the second qualifying final. And no score, the Storm and the Dragons.
One tackle, 4.
Gregor, their captain, a fend away from Anderson. Takes on Martin, beats him too. There's been more experienced players than Anderson missed tackles over the years on Paul McGregor. Good strong fend. Now Lightfold bumped away from the set of their mule.
Tackle 2, here we are, line me up.
Well to come again, in fact. The Dragons 35 metres out. No score in this match with Timmins heavily involved. He seems to have a liking for Olympic Park.
Leave him, let him up easy. Hold.
With Ainscough. Infield and Brown at first receiver. And the turn to pass for Mundine to Bartram. Pressure from the Melbourne defence. They lose 10 metres on the play. Bowden got up there. And Barrett on for Mundine. And passing for McGregor. Taking on Martin. Wrapping around was Barrett. Better play from the number 7.
Come on back, come on back.
Last play. 22 metres out from the Melbourne line. And Mundine is the man who gives the kick. And this one is going to put pressure on Ross. Ross gets there, and Ross does the job for Melbourne.
A very important take there by Robbie Ross. Look, I like what St George are doing here. They're handling the conditions far better than Melbourne. And if anything, Melbourne are just starting to struggle with the pace of this game. St George is showing a lot more footwork and better ball control and running better lines into the defence. Melbourne are struggling to make ground at the moment.
So on that replay, great cluster of bodies there, but the concentration of Robbie Ross was committed to coming up with a clean take. He did that. Rua is out there. Made his test debut this year in the Anzac Test for the Kiwis. This kick from Kamali has come off the backside, I think, of Brad Mackay. It's play on for Mundine. On the toe, and now Mundine with it 25 metres out. Taken on by Geyer, and to ground he goes. 10 out. And the Dragons are on the rush forward now. In fact, threatening to come up with first points of the match. Good tackle, Kamali. They're set with Ainscough, and they attack the left with Colin Ward. 5 metres out. Melbourne have done well to regroup. As the Dragons swing to the right. Ainscough, deep pass there for Barrett. and then feeds it along for McGregor. Patton's on his outside, he won't need him. McGregor strikes the first blow for the Dragons. A shock start against the home team here, and the Dragons lead by 4 points to 0, and it's the captain who gets there.
And big Mary McGregor, he's having a wonderful game so far. He's given his opposite, Tony Martin, a bath out there. He's run it in 2 or 3 times, beaten him every time. There's not even a charge down. He turned his back to get out of the way. And then away they went. Mundine, a guy did well to hold on to Mundine. He's got plenty of speed, Mundine. And then on the other side of the field, well, they drifted across the field and they found them wanting. And Paul McGregor is playing really well. He's taking the line on. It's a good ball. He's got plenty of space to work in. And the inside men hadn't come over, and Paul McGregor, easy for him, a stroll in the park.
You could feel the Saints warming to that. As I said, their footwork was really starting to test Melbourne. They're controlling the ball better. And they're going to have to get someone big on this man, McGregor, because Martin and Anderson are having real trouble with him when he gets a little bit of room to move. And the big fella plants one over there for the first score of the game.
Great moment for Paul McGregor. He did miss 12 weeks of football this year. Problem with his lower legs, and he only returned in round 18. And now taking over captaincy as well. And first try here. Bartram has this kick from 15 in from touch. And he's taken it back some 18 metres. And Bartram for a 6-0 lead. No dramas there. Wayne Bartram's on the money with a first kick. And in the second qualifying final, the Dragons 6, leading the Storm 0. 5 metres out from their own line, Lance Thompson. Taken on the tackle by Swain. There's some interesting statistics regarding first points in Melbourne Storm matches. They definitely are front runners, as Ward is dumped in the tackle by Ruhr on halfway. We'll elaborate on that statistic in a moment as the Dragons reach the last tackle in this set of 6. Mundine's kick on the bounce, grubbers its way past Robbie Ross, and now look at the chase here from the Dragons, just about 12 or 13 there.
And there's still about 5 or 6 of the Melbourne players struggling to get back on side. The pace of this game, given their preparation coming into these finals, is finding them out. St. George are doing this on the bit at the moment.
Stephen Kearney coming off as Glenn Lazarus.
Regarding Melbourne and who scores first certainly is quite alarming. When Melbourne have conceded the first try, it has happened on 8 occasions this year. They've won only once. And when they have scored first, and that has happened some 16 occasions this year, they've won 15 of those matches. So, as I say, they are front runners. If they fall behind, they don't seem to be able to find that other gear. Here's Swain. He will kick from dummy half. Luke Patton is back on the 10-metre line. No dramas there for Luke Patton. Scored a hat-trick last week against Manly and did it all in the first 28 minutes.
He's a strong player, Kamali, isn't he? I mean, he chased down there one-on-one, grabbed that bloke by the shirt tail and just threw him to the ground. It's all right if he's a big fella, but when you look up, it's the smallest fella on the field. It's a little embarrassing.
Trent Barrett across with Likevol, trying to get a full head of steam up. Swain took him low. Howe was over the top. Rodney Howe getting through plenty of defence early. And Tracy puts Mundine away. It's called forward. Oh, there must have only been centimetres in it.
Yeah, we saw a forward pass, well, a non-forward pass called back last night, which cost the Roosters a try. Let's have a look at this one. It's a good break made from Darren Tracy. He finds the support back on the inside. That's fine. That's happy days, that pass.
Yeah, certainly looked flat enough. The big thing about that, Fatty, is how from the inside Melbourne aren't making up their ground on the opposing side. St. George are going to cut this side up unless they get a little bit more possession and get their breath back.
Oh, look at that tackle from McGregor. Driving in on Robbie Ross. Howe follows up and doesn't make his usual 10 metres that time. A sign the Dragons are well on top. And now Ben Rorty over halfway. Canterbury Junior in this Melbourne Storm lineup. There's a few of them. Swain at dummy half for Ruhr. And that time Ruhr was able to get over the advantage line with some success. And the ground in the McGregor tackle. There too was Bartram. Anderson coming across field. He's hampered very much by a knee problem. Had a knee reconstruction last year and was in doubt for this match. Problem flaring up. Kamali's high kick. Patton's got a bit of time here and misses. An air swing. Melbourne. They hit back, and Luke Patton missed it. Newell is the try scorer. But what a blow for the 19-year-old Luke Patton.
Oh, yeah, Brett Kamali, anything the Melbourne Storm do that's good, he is always involved. And this is a towering bomb. He actually called Danny Williams. He was chasing through. He said, stay out of it. He did. And then Patton really had a mile of time and really not a great deal of pressure on him to get that one. And he's completely missed it.
Yeah, difficult afternoon for the fullbacks. They're both going to be under a lot of pressure. And a very high kick there from Kamali. Patton had to play at the ball. He wasn't quite in position. And maybe that's the breather Melbourne were looking for. It's a real bonus for them scoring a try from the bomb, having a walk back to halfway now and saying, all right, we've done it tough, but we're back in the game.
They did need it, didn't they? I just got a sneaking suspicion that Luke Patton might have had a little look as that ball was coming down. Just a tiny one, but it was enough for him to lose concentration.
It was a ball that had to be played, Fatty, wasn't it? It was going to bounce up in the air anyway.
Guy's kick is off the upright. Well, there's some shaky signs from some finals rookies here. 6-4, the Dragons retain a lead. Here's the attempt of Luke Patton again. Right off the fingertips. And as easy as you like for Aaron Newell.
I mean, you can't miss goals like this. He'll be filthy on himself. Matt Geyer hangs the head a bit. He's missed 2 sitters today.
Turns 24 tomorrow. Matt Geyer enjoying his best ever season in the top grade. Played 3 Origin matches, of course, earlier this year. And as we've mentioned, the leading point scorer in the game. Lazarus, skipper for the Melbourne Storm, has already announced that he will be retiring at the end of the Storm's campaign this year. Marcus Bai, one of his hit-ups, makes it over the 40-metre line. This is the Melbourne game. And Kamali kicks after just a couple of tackles. Patton goes back, and that time, on the run, took it beautifully. And around Martin. No Shepherd around Blacklock. Bowden was waiting. So the Dragons with it on their own 20.
That's a confident take from the young fellow. Just put one down, but he attacked that ball well. Got it back for his team.
Nathan Brown for Barrett. Taking on the defence. Lazarus was low in the tackle, and now to the right side was Smith. Anderson did a good job front on the front rower. Nathan Brown for Pearson. And fifth tackle. Dragons haven't really done anything too adventurous in this set. Barrett's kick. Bit of height on that one. And Geyer going back, and a good take from Geyer this time. Well, he's down in confidence with a boot. No dramas there. Ross, they attack from inside their 20. Now Marcus Bai. They're going across field. Taken by Timmins. And they remain inside their 20. Martin Ferrauti. Denny Williams is on. Hasn't had a top-grade game since late June. Denny Williams, a dummy half. He's a player who comes into the side, though, with a bit of finals experience from his previous stint with the Bears. In fact, he's played 8 final matches. Denny Williams, here's Kamali's kick, keeping them turned around. That one, 2 bounces, and over the sideline from Brett Kamali. Really driving it low for the corner. Probably never got more than 3 metres off the ground.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to watch a bloke who's good at his trade. Brett Kamali, nothing to work with down there. Last time he went across field to Patton. Patton waited near the post. Kamali took the opening down the sideline, rolling into touch, gives his side a breather.
And the scrum to pack down on the 10-metre line. Dragons up by 2. Paul McGregor, the try scorer for the red and whites. And Aaron Newell coming up trumps for Melbourne. 6 handling errors so far. And the Dragons now with Ainscough. Things are going swimmingly for them. And there's another big tackle. It's from Rua again on Ainscough. And Mackay able to pass in the tackle. Mundine. A few of the Melbourne Storm players had turned around. Kearney was there running back towards his own goal line. He wasn't aware there'd been a pass. And with Barrett over the 40-metre line, straight past Anderson. Then back for Timmins. on halfway. St.George Illawarra getting a little more ground in this set. Nathan Brown runs and puts Mundine through a passage. He was taken from behind by Denny Williams. They're 30 metres out. And last play for the Dragons. And Ainscough is the man who kicks back inside, and Lazarus with a big smile on the face. His greatest ever catch.
Yeah, great. What a catch from Big Lazo. Good stuff, that. And Nathan Brown, when he decides to run and be positive, which he can do, he can really set up some good play for the Dragons. Sometimes he stands up with a football and doesn't know where to go. But when he's positive and runs towards the line with support, he's very good.
Paul, watching the first 26 minutes of this game, every time St George have got the ball, I got the feeling something's going to happen. When Melbourne's got it, there doesn't seem to be any line break on at the moment.
There's Kamali's kick that time, a short one. And Patton comes back. Not his best from Brett Kamali. Rain still falling here at Olympic Park. Blacklock and away for Wishart. I don't think the Dragons were anticipating wet weather football come the first week of the finals. Been a beautiful week in Sydney. They flew down yesterday afternoon, the Dragons, to prepare for this one. The ball's lost there. Well, look, I thought he was trying to plant the ball down to play it, and that's the cry from Matt Geyer. Darren Tracy, the player.
Referee saying that the last man came in too late. Matt Geyer. Well, the tackle really wasn't completed, and Darren Tracy was trying to get up and play the football. That penalty could have gone the other way.
It would have blown up if it had have. Encouraging plays, not to just plant the ball down. You've got to get to your feet to play it. And Mackay passes up, and away go the Dragons. And in fact, a second try is coming for Wishart. One of the veterans slides in for the try. The Dragons have their second. A sneaky blindside play, and they lead by 10 points to 4.
Yes, coach is doing that one. Little set play down the short side on the first tackle. They don't normally work. Here they go. It's the inside ball. As a freeze play there, you can see that all the defences come in on that man, and there's fair dinkum a free line down there. And as play goes on, there's plenty of space. It's a great ball. That one was it forward though. And Corey Pearson, simply a draw and pass situation to the fullback, and Rod Wishart backing up. Great stuff by the Dragons.
Yeah, it's poor defence by Melbourne though, Fatty, because St George do start their tap kicks off like that regularly. They like to put that man back into the 10-metre zone there. Melbourne sideline defence raced in, left a free run for Corey Pearson and Rod Wishart. And I think that Melbourne coach Chris Anderson he won't be happy with that, to say the least. They start their tap kicks off like that all the time. Mackay leaps into the tackle, gets one over the top. Is it forward? Well, if that wasn't forward, the other one wasn't forward either.
And well done to the big fella. Doesn't find himself in space very often, Corey Pearson, but he did there, and he handled it like a centre three-quarter out in the open.
And these conditions made for a man like Rod Wishart on screen. Scored a try last week in his final appearance in Wollongong. And getting a start again today. Craig Fitzgibbon was listed on the bench. And Wishart comes in and comes up with a try. I think we said it before. I think we said it 2 weeks ago in the match against the Roosters. Wishart, for our money, still has plenty to offer the game of rugby league, and I know Blocker was pretty keen to get him to the West Tigers. Brad Mackay takes over as kicker, and a tough one. Jeering from the Melbourne crowd. Mackay's kick swings wide, but the Dragons in the second qualifying final lead the Storm by 6.
Melbourne Storm just the one, and they are 4.
Dragons with it on their own 40-metre line, and Brown has been hurt in this tackle. He may have been out before he hit the ground, as a matter of fact.
Well, I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. I got no doubt that Nathan Brown was on the way down before he was tackled, and his head's probably come in contact with a knee. You see Brown duck to get down for a quick play the ball. He gets knees in the head, and that is the danger of voluntary tackles.
Well, Phil, I think you can rest your case right there. Video evidence would suggest that Brown, there's no doubt about it, he was ducking low for the deck.
His aim there was to get up the short side, get a quick play the ball and get a roll on for his side. And it's dangerous to players. He's knocked himself out here. And really he's got no one else to blame but himself. He runs. He now says, I'll get down for a quick play the ball, so he ducks. He collects the knees quite accidentally. No fault on behalf of the Melbourne players. He can smile about it now, but I don't think he'll do it again today.
Well, he's smiling because he thinks he's at Waterworld at the moment. And the Dragons are with it 40 metres out from their own line. But they do lead by 6. And a little drop ball there. McGregor was prepared to play it. The first try scorer.
Yeah, nice low tackle there from Anderson, and Daniel Williams over the top forced the ball loose.
Wayne, you got to put that head in, Wayne. Head down.
Melbourne do need something special before half-time.
Anderson up for Martin.
Line me up, Wayne.
Anderson again. Kearney quickly inside. Kearney yet to really put a stamp on this match.
Quickly out of there.
Really found his best form over the 6 weeks leading up to the finals. Here's Lazarus lumbering forward almost to the 30-metre line. As I talk about Kearney, he's gone to the bench. And Nick out, 25 metres out.
Let him go.
I would have thought Kearney's the sort of player you want on the field when you're 20 metres out from your opponent's line. Kamali's pass from Marquette is tackled.
Come on back. Come on,
He hit it at full pelt. And Swain to the right with Kamali, then on for Anderson. He kicks and a beautiful gather there for Wishart, and back he comes. And no real pressure on the Dragons, although Rod Wishart made a hard task in these conditions look rather easy.
He uses his many years of experience here just to drop back at the right time to handle that kick. A very ineffective kick. Now the Dragons doing a good job of rucking it out. Smith takes one, he makes 10, and then Pearson.
Here is Mundine putting that dancing on. Let's take a comment from the sideline. Laurie Daly.
Yeah, the Melbourne Storm are certainly getting off their line in defence, but I think they're coming up too hard and they're not wrapping the bloke up with the ball. St. George are getting a lot of offloads and they're quick on their feet. They're getting around the Melbourne Storm forwards.
Canberra captain Laurie Daly with us in commentary on Channel 9 today. Robbie Ross comes back for Melbourne. Tackled for the first short of the 40-metre line. Now their try scorer, Mule, a Queenslander by birth, tackled and wrapped up on that 40. Mackay got in there first. The line breaks, none so far for Melbourne. And that goes through the legs of Swain. That takes the edge off the play. Nicow from a standing start, away from Bartram. Smith gets up and gets him to ground. This is most un-Melbourne like this set of 6. Nicow was an untidy play the ball. Now Lazarus, they've reached the last. They've made only 15 metres.
Yeah, the Melbourne forwards are just like ducks in a shooting gallery at the moment, and St. George are picking them off one by one. No support play, very little vigour in their efforts. And as I said earlier, they're really struggling with the pace of this game. Nicow's back on the 40-metre line. He's yet to chase the kick.
And Bowden on for Glenn Lazarus. Glenn goes to the sideline, 33 years of age. And Dragons with it. 15 inside their own half. And Mackay, there's a heavy tackle. It was a flat ball that had Howe coming up. No dramas at all on Colin Ward. And here's Barrett. Drifts across field on the bounce there to Blacklock. He comes back infield. He can be dangerous from this situation. He threw it like a watermelon. It was fielded by Thompson, then Ainscoe. And swung around in the tackle there by Mule, and Kamali finishes off over the top. And the Dragons on their 30 on the last tackle. So both teams, their games falling apart over the last few minutes. Robbie Ross starts his run from the 30-metre line. Links up with Marcus Pye. That's as hospital as it comes.
Oh, thanks very much. He's simply calling out a blood bin, Bill Harrigan. Mary gets up. He's made a good tackle. He's happy about it. He's urging on his fellow players. What's this for a pass? Well, thank you very much. Marcus by below.
Colin Ward play to the blood bin, and Corey Pearson sent straight back out there for the Dragons. And play resumes at 10 points to 4 to the Dragons. Already Canterbury a winner this weekend. Here's a penalty to Melbourne. Mackay penalised. The most experienced player in the Dragons lineup. 215th first grade game today for Brad Mackay.
It's interesting in the Sydney press this week that Chris Anderson criticised Bill Harrigan, say that he refereed Melbourne too harshly. They currently lead 4-1 with the penalties. It hasn't done them any good because Brett Camorley has failed to find touch. A cardinal sin in a game of this nature.
And he was looking for a quick restart, and Blacklock was able to go back and take it. I don't think he would have ever found the sideline at 5 or 6 metres in from touch. Here's Pearson almost to the 30-metre line.
Look, I think St George have just got to be single-minded in their own half. Their last set of 6, here was another error here. They've just got to get rid of the ball and wait for Melbourne to tire out. They don't need all this running around and fancy football down their own end of the field.
Marcus Bai runs from dummy half. I thought Harrigan may have been playing an advantage. He's just trampled Blacklock. Big Marcus. He looked bigger when he got over the top there of Nathan Blacklock. Swain and Bowden. 10 metres out. On the spin and the Mackay tackle. Back for Swain. Then Camorley. Marquette's on the inside. There's the call and tackle by Patton. 5 metres out. Swain at dummy half. They trail by 6. Camorley up for Nicow. Nicow gets the right arm free for Camorley. And the defence is all called. As Ainscough gets across. They will certainly scramble. And 5 out again, Melbourne. Set to the left with Camorley. And there he is, that little kick. Got a ricochet and came up quite nicely for the front rower Likevole, and he comes away to make 10 metres.
Not too much going right for the Melbourne Storm today. Very ordinary play of the ball. Timmins is through.
And slides to a halt. And in fact is hurt, Sean Timmins. And now back with Wishart. He also slides almost to halfway.
Well, that's 3 tackles they've made 50 metres. They are really dead set struggling, the Storm.
And still in a bit of trouble in back play. He's lost a boot well downfield. It's one of his problems. Here's Likevole. To ground he goes in the Marquette tackle. 40 metres out. The Dragons with Brown. Last play. Brown puts the signal in for Mundine. Mundine tries to bat it back. And Melbourne come up with it. 25 metres out from their line.
Well, I would think Mundine had time to catch and pass that, and he went for the knockback, trying to get it to his teammate. Again, a great little ploy from Nathan Brown. Little one in behind the defence, and Melbourne players in a group behind the play of the ball, struggling with their yardage. They've come up with a mistake, and right on the stroke of half-time, this is a great opportunity for St George.
Corey Pearson also in problems right now for the Dragons. This is Richard Swain. Nothing back, and then he ducks down low in the tackle. No hit of a hand there. Lost it cold in the Tracy tackle.
I think if you're David Wade at half-time, you'd have 3 words for St George: kick, kick and kick. If they kick the football and spend time down in Melbourne's end of the field and just wait for the mistakes, Melbourne can't keep on the pace of this game. It's only 10 points to 4, but they're not on the same page as St George, Melbourne.
Yeah, Saints, everything they do is about a metre quicker than the other mob, Phil.
Well, they are. It's the footwork, Fatty. It's really testing these big Melbourne forwards. They're making yards every time they run the ball, and they don't have to be fancy to do it. I think he'll want less ball movement, a little more kick and chase, and he'll just wear this Melbourne side down.
Need a lock. Get a lock in.
And Phil, it's worth remembering too, as we come up to the break, haven't won a match this year, Melbourne, when they've trailed at half-time. There's Patton, wrapped up 40 metres out from the Melbourne Storm line. They might even strike another blow before half-time. Barrett passes there for McGregor. Tries to get around the outside of Martin. Tony Martin does well, the 20-year-old. Infield for Smith. He crashes forward. Lazarus finishes off there with Swain and Rua. They're 25 out. And Brown for Likevole. And Likevole shows the dummy and makes 10 metres. Now 15 out. Nathan Brown at dummy half. Melbourne Storm fans have gone a little silent. Barrett passing for Mundine on the inside for Bartram. You notice that Blacklock is there scouting around the rucks. He's been without a try for the last 3 matches, and that is the leading try scorer in the game. Barrett holds this one up. Kicks, I think a breakdown there. Bai was there. No Dragons player as Bai comes back. There was no chase through whatsoever. He probably was hoping that Blacklock was on the right wing, but of course he was centre field. I think it was up to Barrett to hold back the kick or come up with some variation. Here's Lazarus. Almost back to the 40. And with Swain. Passing for Camorley. Camorley for Marquette. No, held on to the ball. And again, they've used up 5 tackles, but As far as metres made, it's certainly not like Melbourne have done all season. This kick for Blacklock's win could be danger.
Yeah, I think Chris Anderson would like to get them in the sheds as quickly as possible. It looks like St George are going to have the last opportunity with the ball. Melbourne are out on their feet. They want to get to half-time at 10-4. That won't be so bad given the run of the game.
And Nathan Brown from dummy half. And passing for Smith. He went on the spin as he got to the defence. Right on halfway. Nathan Brown for Thompson. And inside. St.George Illawarra, 90 seconds left on the clock, leading by 6. I guess there's some suggestion if they get in position they may look to take it to 7. Bartram is with it for Blacklock. He chips over the head of Marcus Bai. Now Blacklock chasing through and regathers. No, Martin's there. Martin gets to it and gets to the 20-metre line.
And lucky he was there because there was some St George support back on the inside after Blacklock kicked it the second time. Nice work. He took the chance himself. He's got plenty of speed. Another kick. And Mundine was trailing back on the inside, but Martin saved it for them.
And did it at speed as well, Tony Martin. Rodney Howe. And the Thompson tackle. Swain for Nicow. And inside it comes. No, Nicow retaining possession. 3 men in the tackle. Remembering that in this final series, the McIntyre system, the 2 lowest ranked losers are knocked out at the end of the first week. Heaven forbid if it's 3rd and 4th. It would be incredible. But that could happen if the bottom 4 teams win their matches. So far, one of them have. And the Dragons, the 6th place team, right here in front by 6. And Ainscough to the left with Tracy. Half-time hooter has sounded. And the St George Illawarra Dragons would be extremely pleased with their first 40 minutes work. This second qualifying final in the Ansett Australia final series. The Dragons go to the break, leading the Melbourne Storm by 10 points to 4. We will take a break and come back with Paul and Phil with highlights from the first half. Don't go away. Welcome back to Olympic Park. At 10 points to 4, the St George Illawarra Dragons over the Melbourne Storm. Still plenty of drizzle. And Melbourne Storm with a job to do. 5 times this year they have trailed at half-time. Twice they've been tied and they have lost all 7. It's an alarming statistic. Can they turn it around in finals football? As we have a look at the Mitsubishi match stats from the first half.
Yeah, possession, 21 completion, 21 sets for both sides. 55% St George on the run of play. Line breaks 3 to St George is a telling factor. Kicks in play favour Melbourne, and Kamali has really kept them in this half of football. A few missed tackles there from the Storm and some handling errors from St George, who have been forcing a few passes. All in all, it doesn't really show what I think has been a fairly dominant half of football from St George. 10 points to 4 I think will please Chris Anderson. Even though he's behind, it could have been a lot worse.
Let's see who the workers are today in these conditions.
Well, I know from the Melbourne point of view, Rodney Howe has been very strong. Lazarus has done plenty of hit-ups. But the Dragons forwards, well, they're certainly on par, if not better. In metres made, in sets of 6, I think the Dragons would be on top in that department.
The Melbourne Junior Rugby League doubles 8 to 0, 3 and 3. As we get ready for the Dragons to make their way back to the Olympics run.
And here come the Dragons back for the second half, in front by 6. They would be treating this game as sudden death. Bottom 2 ranked losers drop out after the first weekend of the playoffs. They want to have the destiny in their own hands as now Melbourne return. Lazarus takes them out. His final match in Melbourne today. Nothing wrong with his input from that first half. And he knows that his side has a little bit to do in this one. Trailing by 6. The match they played in round 13 earlier this year. The most points that Melbourne conceded this season against a side. The Dragons finished up 28 points to 16 winners. It's Friday night football. Nathan Blacklock and Sean Timmins, 2 of the stars from that match. And Blacklock scored a 90-metre intercept try in the second half in that one. Ready then for the second half. Melbourne from left to right. And the Dragons up by 6. And again, they've gone for the shallow kick-off, Melbourne. So they're not getting any real advantage. To make St. George Illawarra work out from their own 20. Here's Colin Ward. Went to the blood bin shortly before half-time. He's back out there now. He'll be going to Laurie Daly shortly. There's Craig Smith over the 30-metre line. We have a special guest with him. And Mackay at dummy half. And he ducks low into the tackle, taken by Nicow over the top on the Dragons' 40-metre line. Now Nathan Brown runs up for Colin Ward. And that time it was Lazarus who went low. Last tackle. Lazarus may have been just struggling to get to his feet after that previous tackle. That kick bounces awkwardly. Ainscough. Here it goes for the Dragons. Oh, Mundine. He overran the football. There were 3 Dragons there.
What a great chance early in the match. That could have nearly wrapped it up, although there's 39 to go. In the wet conditions, a beautiful little kick. Found the gap. The toe through. There's 4 of them there ready to pick it up, and Mundine just couldn't get it.
Fatty, exactly the way they started the first half. 3 or 4 across the field, and then Nathan Brown, a little one over the top for Ainscough. He's a great kick chaser. Should have been a 6-pointer, that one, for the Saints.
If body language means anything, Melbourne have hardly come out after half-time jumping out of their skins, despite the fact they trail by 6. And here's Kamali kicking. And kicking for Ainscough wing, an easy take. The kick was only some 25 metres off the boot. Ainscough comes across field, links up with Patton, and Patton takes it over the 30-metre line. Let's go down to Laurie Daly on the sideline.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Joining me is Scotty Hill from Melbourne Storm, injured 5'8". Scott, what did Chris say to the boys at half-time?
I think he wasn't too disappointed with the score. I think he was more concentrating on making sure the boys lift their intensity for the second half. That was a little bit lower in their defence and that sort of stuff. So if they can get their intensity higher, he wants the forwards to sort of get a bit wider of the ruck. Definitely St. George are holding down the play. The ball's very slow, so hopefully he wants us to do that and get a little bit wider of the ruck so they can create a bit of gaps and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, did he talk about his kicking game? You've put one bomb up to Patton at fullback and he did miss it, but you very rarely put the ball in the air today.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of the time we've been coming out of trouble too, so I think he did mention that put the ball in the air and let Patton sort of take the pill, so I don't know, it's going to be interesting in the second half. It's both teams want it, so we'll wait and see what happens.
Well, thanks for joining me, Scott, and all the best next year with your shoulder.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. And in the other dressing room, David Waite, his main point of concern was their kicking game. He really wants the team to work hard in this second half and wants to stop their back three from making any ground at all. He wants the big Melbourne forwards as Mundine goes through.
And here they come, Laurie, with Ainscough. Nicow comes across, but Ainscough gets there. Ainscough scores for the Dragons off a little bit of Mundine magic. Well, he would have wanted a tie. He's got one straight after half-time.
Oh, yeah, too good, Mundine. He was very quiet last week against Manly, but he's exploded here today. Another Melbourne Storm mistake. Only 40 metres out from their posts, and they just simply one pass wide. Mundine, he beat Brett Kamali. And then a beautiful ball. There's Melbourne players falling over each other. Nicow couldn't foot it for pace with Ainscough. Great stuff there from the Dragons.
Yeah, as we said in the first half, it's footwork that's getting St. George through this line today. Tremendous left foot step there from Mundine. Got back to the inside shoulder of Kamali. The defence raced up. Up and in defence sometimes can be your worst enemy in slippery conditions. St. George have played on that today. A lot of the Melbourne players have raced up, haven't taken their man. And with the footwork, St. George have got into space. Ainscough a free run to the line. He was always going to score when given that sort of space. And 14 points to 4 mightn't seem a lot, but it will to the Melbourne Storm right at this point in time.
Jamie Ainscough with a try. Lead is now 10. I don't know what a safe lead is in finals football. We saw last year a few times the likes of Canterbury coming back from 16 points down. The Roosters did it once against Newcastle, down by 15. Bartram's kick from the sideline. Bartram trying to swing it back off the crossbar and over. What a kick from Bartram. 5 gone in the second half and it's 16-4.
What a difference, isn't it? You got Matt Guy missing them from right in front. And Wayne Bartram potting them from everywhere. Out wide, beautiful kick. Well, it's just sensational stuff. When you've got a goal kicker in your side who can do this, and a couple of teams in the semis have them. Darryl Halligan, of course, the Rock, he's the best ever. But Wayne Bartram doing a great job today.
Started the day with a tally of 132 points for the year, Wayne Bartram. Couple of goals here. In fact, didn't take the second attempt. Brad Mackay took it from the sideline. Here's Nathan Brown, wrapped up by Marquette, right on halfway. Still the rain falls here in Melbourne. Mundine, it's a grey day for the Storm. There's Barrett's tackle. 45 metres out from the Melbourne line. And last tackle, Mundine for Brown. Will he kick this time? They run! And Bartram is through. Slices through, in fact. It's put down on the inside. That will be a changeover, but they have just opened Melbourne up.
Yeah, Coach Waite will rue the lost opportunity there, but I think on the inside he'll be smiling. St George have got their measure at the moment. It is prizing them open at will. Melbourne really can't keep pace with the ball movement and the footwork. I know I've said that often, but it's just so evident. And unless something drastically changes in this game, I can't see Melbourne getting out of trouble.
Mackay was the man who put it down. Lazarus. Forward he goes. Couple of defenders there. Tracy and Ward. Here's Kamali. A dart from him. He brushed past one. He left Mackay behind. Mackay then just got bumped out of the way by one of the Melbourne support players. Swain back in field for Nickau. They're going across field. Kearney takes on Barrett. Isn't able to offload. Now the troops come in. Smith gets there to help Barrett out, and that's the last tackle for Melbourne. Again, a set of 6 where they've made just over 20 metres. And during the season, they make 50 and 60 every set. Luke Patton from his 10-metre line. Blocks him up. And here's Timmins. He's got a white patch at the top of his head. It's more like Sterlo right now, but there you have it.
Get the number of that seagull.
The Dragons 25 metres out from their own line now with Bartram. Big tackle over the top. Rorty. Kamali went low. His tackle count in the 20s. Brett Kamali. Mundine. They come wide. Nickau rushed up at Smith. Strong game again from Craig Smith. He was labelled as an X-factor coming into the finals. He's had a disrupted run this year through suspension and injury. Now Nathan Brown, left foot kick from 45 metres out. He's got it over the head of Geyer. He trots back. Geyer back inside his own 10-metre line. Ainscough is there. Timmins is there, and they both get him. Beautiful play from the Dragons. Exactly what they would want. And Melbourne still coming back onside as Mule heads across field. He's lost it. Fielded by Kearney. And Kearney strides over the 20-metre line. They needed that. Just got a report from Laurie Daly. Laurie, the story with Corey Pearson.
Yeah, he has hurt his AC joint in his shoulder and he won't be back this afternoon, which is a big blow for the Dragons, but I think they might have a big enough lead.
They lose one off the bench then. And Kamali to the right with Nickau. He had to reach forward to take it, then steps away from Tracy. Bad miss. Then away almost from Mundine. To ground he goes, 30 metres out. Last tackle, Kamali, inside for Geyer. Nickau was taken out from behind by Ward. We might hear more about this. Then back for Swain. Fielded there by Nathan Brown. Now the touch judge will come in. Colin Ward, I'm sure, will be the player called out. He grabbed hold of Nickau's leg on the way through. He was looking to support, and Colin Ward will cop the caution.
Colin Ward! Where are we, mate? You got a mark for me?
Yeah, it's actually Melbourne Storm's best passage of play.
Players gone taking him out, didn't let him get into the play.
Nickau, beautiful swan dive there.
Okay. Paul, go away. That's not the wrong call. That's not what's called for. You're going to take 10 minutes, mate.
Well, 10 minutes in the bin for that. Phil Gould, Roosters coach, a reaction to a sin binning like that, such a crucial stage.
Well, it is a crucial stage because it just might be the spark that Melbourne need, particularly if they can score from this set of 6 and then have 8 or 9 minutes at them with only 12 men to get themselves back on level pegging. Big set of 6 here for the Storm.
And here they go with Rorty. 5 metres out. Storm down by 12. And Kearney, he comes from a long way back and gets there. Kearney's over for the Melbourne Storm. He wants to see if it's a double movement. But Kearney, all bustle, all hustle to the try line for Melbourne.
Yeah, down to 12 men. Stephen Kearney just ran straight and hard. Determination all over his face. Ains goes over the top. Mundine comes late. Ainsco's hand is under the football. Can he get it down? Struggling.
Still sliding forward,
Still sliding though. Momentum carrying him there. And that is a try.
Well, that's amazing, isn't it? I mean, the minute that St. George were down to 12 men, all of a sudden Melbourne come up with 2 barnstorming runs as though they'd been given a shot of adrenaline. And Carney, a big play down the short side. He ran at the 2 little men, Ainscough and Mundine, backed himself for size and strength. He gets underneath Ainscough. Ainscough looks to have a handle on the ball. Mundine comes across. He really can't be of assistance. And now it's just Carney and Ainscough in an arm wrestle, and Carney, the bigger man, wins out, gets the ball across the line. Melbourne Storm back in the game.
Standing by for the green light. There it is from Ian Barnaby. And the Melbourne Storm get as vocal as they have been all match. 9 gone in the second half. And their second try, and Kearney, it was as if the Rodeo gate opened and he just charged for that try line.
Everything was moving here. His whole body, the legs just kept pumping. Even when he hit the deck, he was so determined to get there because he knows that Melbourne need to get a try to get back into the match, and he's provided it for them.
Big kick here for Matty Geyer. He's had 2 kicks at goal. He's nearly slipped over on both of them. He missed an important one from in front. He can do his own confidence and that of his teams the world of good if he can pilot this one between the sticks.
Here's Geyer sitting on 230 points for the season. This one looks good. This looks good. It's over from Geyer from the sideline. It's missed 2 from in front. 16-10, thank you very much, second qualifying final.
What do you need to know?
And it's gone. 16-10. The Dragons leading the Melbourne Storm. 2 tries since half-time as Rorty comes back.
Here we are for one,
It'll be interesting to see the attitude of St. George now. Will they start to try and protect this 6-point lead or keep playing with the confidence they showed before the send-off?
Colin Ward in the sin bin. Professional foul as it was ruled. Ronnie Howe offloads there for Ross. Now Kamali and Kearney. He's off again, Stephen Kearney. To the 40-metre line. And the Dragons on their heels now. Swain, Nickau. They look a totally different side now, Melbourne. And in this set of 6, they've carried already to within 45 metres of the Dragons line. Now Kamali. Then the short pass up. Brown came rushing up. Barrett made the tackle. Brown ended up with clean air. Kamali, he goes a bomb. Well, Laurie Daly asked would they put a question to Patton again. Patton safe this time. And away from his own goal line, captured there by Nickau. Hasn't this livened up now? The crowd getting involved, and Ainscough was tackled 10 metres out. And now Ainscough comes out swinging at Swain, and Swain is penalised.
Too long, Phil. He was already tackled.
That's a release of pressure there for St. George. Unlucky. I'll tell you one thing about Melbourne, if they get a sniff, they're not scared to win. Some sides, when they get down on the scoreboard, get down on themselves. Ainscough getting up there swinging. I think probably he was the aggressor. He obviously objected to something in the tackle. I'd say Bill Harrigan got a tip-off there from one of his touch judges. Back to Melbourne. They're not scared to win if they can get a chance here.
Dragons really putting the brakes on in the restart. With Ward still in the sin bin. He's like Vol. Brewer. Low in the tackle. Matt Brewer's had a very good game off the bench for Melbourne. Darren Tracy hammered there in the tackle of Howe and Marquette. And Brown takes off for 5.
3. I'm having 2 looks, Brett.
Brewer made the tackle. Bill Harrigan. Just a little mention there of Brett Kamali, just checking if he was rushing up a little quick. Barrett. His runners were shut down there. Anderson had moved up in defence on the outside. No room for Barrett to pass. McGregor for Mundine. And back inside, Timmins. It's back in field. Now halfway. Last play with Brown. He tries a short kick. Mundine's coming through. Geyer gets across. Doesn't get to it. Melbourne, though, clean up. Robbie Ross with it. Close call there. A few times the short kicking game has got Melbourne in trouble today. The short kicks from the Dragons.
It was a good warning shot from St. George too. It showed even though they're down to 12 men, they're still prepared to chance their arm and score a try.
40 metres out.
Second tackle from Wayne Bartram. Right in front. And Kamali will kick the touch.
6 the difference.
And 6-2 the penalties. They're certainly piling up now in favour of the home side.
Rodney Howe revved up and passing for Marquette. Then Kamali. It comes on for Newell, their first try scorer. He bounced away and then taken in the tackle by Lightvolt. Centre field. Swain. It was a slow play the ball. Kamali comes across field. There was a little show of the ball. Ainscough wraps up over the top. So the main playmaker tackle. Swain from dummy half. Trapped there by Tracy. And Rorty. And Kamali. Across with Anderson. Short ball there for Rua. It wasn't all that good. Then put down by Robbie Ross. Knocked back the call from Harrigan. Ross almost through. Barrett makes the tackle. Tony Martin. Rorty. 10 out. A shove of the ball to the right. 5 tackles up. The Dragons hanging on with 12 men. Kamali's kick across field. Wishart is posted here for the Dragons. He can't field it. Still in possession, Melbourne. Towed through by Kamali. Then he was taken out by Mundine. And the touch judge is in again.
There's he what? Bill Harrigan missed that one. He turned. He pointed for a 20-metre tap.
Hey. Sam's not there before. Yep, exactly the same.
Well, will he put someone else in the bin? Big call, this one.
After the kick, he's put his arm across the player and taken him down after he kicked the ball. Okay, mate, you've got to do the same. We've got to be consistent. You've got to go again.
Mundine is to the sin bin here. Anthony Mundine has been put in the bin. They're down to 11.
Well, the words from Bill Harrigan, I have to be consistent. Once he sent Colin Ward to the sin bin, he felt compelled to show consistency and send Mundine to the sin bin. And now an 11-man St. George side try to rescue what looked like a winning lead.
Sad thing for Mundine. The kick actually dribbled over the dead ball line. Kamali was no hope of getting to it. And Howe is tackled. 5 out. 13 versus 11 here. And Swain goes across field. A wasted tackle. Taken by Brown. Lazarus, a dummy half. The big fella. Passes for Kamali. Then Anderson. He stepped away from Barrett. They're having to get physical now, this Dragons defence. They've stripped the ball in a 2-man tackle. Smith did it.
It was right.
So another penalty the way of the Melbourne Storm. And the quick restart. Howe is ready again. Surely the Melbourne Storm must score. Ward and Mundine in the sin bin for the Dragons. Kamali slides across field. They fell off for a moment. Kamali back in field. Then passes. Robbie Ross. There's only 3 defenders there. Lazarus burrows and tackle. Brown gets to him. Superb scramble from the Dragons. Done with Rorty, and Rua's lost it. It'll be a knock-on against Melbourne.
First that way.
Dragons will get a scrum feed.
Yeah, poorly handled by Melbourne there. They really didn't get anything constructive. They got a couple of penalties close to the line. Kept turning the ball to the wrong player, and Matty Rua under pressure came up with a fumble, and that'll relieve pressure for St. George. See a lot of dummy half running here, and maybe Nathan Brown trying to get the ball out over the sideline just to eat up the clock so they can get some troops back out there.
The Storm on that occasion, they played nearly that whole set of 6, only 10 metres either side of the post when there was plenty of space out wide. And of course, with St. George, they've got about an 8 or 9 man front line at the moment. And there was a mile of space out there, but now St. George Illawarra just taking their time, eating out the clock.
There is almost even. Of course, Laurie Daly reported earlier that Corey Pearson won't be back for the Dragons, a shoulder injury. So they're down on troops. Barrett passing across for Timmins. He is circled by defenders. They've got him just outside the 10. This is heavy weather the Dragons are making of getting out of their danger zone, although Bartram does well, made 15. And last play for the Dragons. They need a big kick here. Barrett. He supplies the big kick. Geyer has turned around. And all the way back inside his 20. Superb kick from Barrett. Geyer a fumble. Now he returns. The kick return taken by the kicker of the football, Trent Barrett. Big result at the end there for the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Here's Marcus Bai. Comes to the 30-metre line. Quite incredible. 2-player sin bin in a space of some 3 or 4 minutes. Colin Ward is jogging to the sideline only now as Glenn Lazarus crashes over the 40-metre line. Ward returns, so now it's 13 on 12. Mundine remains in the sin bin for the Dragons. Kamali with it. Second qualifying final. And now Nico. He, in fact, has just returned as well from a stint on the bench. 40 metres in from the Dragons line. Last play, Kamali. They're going to try another high kick. This one might find some space. Blacklock, so safe. With it, 5 metres out and passes up for Patton. 5 or 6 Melbourne Storm defenders there. They only need one. It's Brewer. And with Wishart. Frenetic 5 or 6 minutes there for the Melbourne Storm. It settles with the Dragons back in possession. Nathan Brown. To the right with McGregor. Step got him past Rorty that time. Here's Brown. Passing for Ward. Collected over the top there by Nickow. Low man was Bowden. Last play and kicking from inside the 40. Trent Barrett's kick, another good one. Finding some space. Bai gets back there. And Marcus runs back at McGregor, and McGregor makes the tackle, a good one. Tony Martin. There's two gone. Melbourne Storm still regrouping, now with Matt Rua. Ward there in defence, repeating Anthony Mundine, still in the sin bin for the Dragons. They're with 12 at the moment. They were down to 11 for a period. Here's Bowden, offloading, and Melbourne attack with Geyer. Fended away from Ainscough, who slipped, and Geyer's lost it. Geyer loses it a few metres inside his own half.
Yeah, this will be a one-on-one strip from Likeville. Geyer trying to get back inside the big man. Inside Ainscough. Comes back now, Smith, number 10. He pulls the ball from his grasp. Geyer, not a happy day.
Okay, fellas, here we go.
I think that's 8 or 10 minutes that Melbourne would like to have over again. They got overexcited and just didn't take advantage of the situation. Still find themselves 6 points behind, and St. George with good field position here.
I want the prop to get his foot up, give me the hole behind
Laurie
the
Daly on the sideline. You can imagine just how
in.
tense, how nervous Anthony Mundine would be in the dressing room right at the moment. Sin bin for 10. He's such a lively character, effervescent. They have to spend 10 minutes in the bin.
Yeah, exactly right, Vossi. But what a wonderful effort the Dragons have just done then in the last 10 minutes. They've held Melbourne Storm out for, sets of 3 times, and as they go on the attack again. But as Gus alluded to earlier, I think if Melbourne had their time over again, they'd play with a little bit more patience.
16-10. Dragons in front. Likeville is 15 metres out. Nathan Brown goes to the right-hand side, then turns inside for Bartram. Scored 2 tries against the Roosters a fortnight ago. Pretty much from this zone as well. He crashed his way through 3 and 4 defenders.
Field goal.
Nathan Brown back for Barrett. Here it comes. The extra point. Charged down there by Rorty. We'll take a break. 3/4 of this match gone. 16-10 to the Dragons.
Danny, go, Danny.
You wouldn't.
To the left with Ainscough, then inside for Tracy. Tracy gets away from 2, and then Wishart takes it on the toe, and it goes over the dead ball line.
Yeah, they'll be played on, ruled by the linesman. I think that ball came off a Melbourne player, and Rod Wishart got his foot to the ball but couldn't control it. Tracy round the corner, comes off Geyer's arm. Wishart gets his foot to it. The ball goes out the back. It'll be a 20-metre restart to Melbourne.
Yeah, there's a piece of good play there from Darren Tracy. He's got a nice step and the speed to get on the inside of the opposition, and he strode away, but and probably some impatience in throwing that football. Didn't have to be passed.
Here's Marcus Bai. Of course, this just match 2 of 4 this weekend in the Entered Australia Final Series tonight for Sydney and Brisbane. We have all the action live from Parramatta Stadium. The Eels and the Knights, 2nd against 7th. And for you Melbourne people, 10 to 12 tonight, that match will be shown. The Eels and the Knights. And it is sudden death for the Newcastle Knights. If they lose, they're definitely out.
It was interesting, that attempted field goal by St. George. If you were Melbourne, you'd have to think that the Saints believe that 17 can win the game. So maybe they've locked up on trying to score tries today.
And that 4th qualifying final at 4 o'clock tomorrow with the Sharks and the defending premiers, the Brisbane Broncos from Shark Park. In Melbourne, you'll have that at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And Melbourne Storm kicking from 30 metres out. Kamali is chasing through. Patton gets to it. Well, the man in front, Tracy, hit the deck like he'd been shot and gave a bit of protection there for Luke Patton. And St. George Illawarra with it. It was a little unusual. Just saw the man go straight to ground in front of Patton. But an attacking kick from Brett Kamali.
It's still a brave take by the young fullback, wasn't it? Go down on the ball like that with people bearing down on you.
Come away with Barrett. Overhead ball, putting a little bit of pressure on the outside men. There's a pass from Tracy. They're away now. Blacklock says go. Blacklock takes on the fullback. He's away, Nathan Blacklock. This could be the match winner. There's the gallop. Blacklock is over for the Dragons. Oh, it is beautiful play from St. George Illawarra. And there's no better finisher than Nathan Blacklock.
He's the man you want the ball in his hands. If anyone can run 60, 70 metres. It's Nathan Blacklock. Magic stuff there from him. There's plenty of space out wide. The ball goes out, and then Darren Tracy, as we freeze play there, you can see that Guy has come in. He's also been tackled by, I think it's Moole, and there's a massive gap there, and away goes Blacklock. He's got 70 ahead of him. He's still got to beat the fullback. A lovely in and away. Robbie Ross couldn't get there, and here comes Skippy over for the try.
Adventurous play there by the Dragons, spreading from their own half, and as you said, Tracy at the other end probably a little bit guilty of impatience, but he backed his arm again, got it around the corner. Blacklock likes to get on the outside of his man with his right foot. Now this is the right winger over on the left-hand side of the field, such as his keenness to get involved in the play. He saw a chance on the open side of the field, got himself around there, and this is why you're one of the leading try scorers in the Premiership, because you go looking for the football, and doesn't he enjoy scoring them?
20 tries last year for the Dragons, the St. George Dragons. 21 tries now for the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Hadn't scored a try, though, in the 3 games coming into the final series. And he does love this Olympic Park. That's his 5th try in 3 outings here, Nathan Blacklock. That's handy. He's had 2 doubles previously here, so maybe a double is coming up today. Mackay is back as kicker. From 5 in from touch, Mackay has found the range. They're now in front by 12. The Dragons are on their way, 15 remaining.
Conversion is there for...
Now, listen.
Some sloppy play there from the Dragons, and then eyeball to eyeball, Nathan Brown and Stephen Kearney.
A little knock on here in the end from Nathan Brown. Not there, and not there. He flipped it back, but that one there,
Now listen.
he pulled it back to himself.
First 2 were knockbacks. The last one when you dragged it was a knock on. In we go, hold.
Another chance for Melbourne. He's getting to the stage where they just have to score. Anderson. He's been taken across field a lot today. Ainscough got him there. And here's Danny Williams. Finished off there by Lightfold. Big frame of Chris Lightfold coming over the top. You don't see the sun when he comes over. And now Kearney is tackled. They're 19 metres out. No sun here anyway. And raining since midday. Nickau, they're revelling in it. The Dragons. Brewer on the inside. Tackled 12 metres out. Mackay got him. And the Storm with Kamali. He is the man at the moment for Melbourne. And that time he's cleaned up by Lightfold again. He's turning a few of these Melbourne players into couches. And now Nickau from 10 out. He tries a kick. It's knocked down and the Dragons are away with Timmins.
Coach David Waite said before the game the team with the best defence will win this. Well, he's been 100% right. He's also had the team with the best attack. But the St. George defence, they've conceded 1 try from a bomb and 1 try when they were down to 12 men. Other than that, they've completely blotted out the Melbourne forwards and their playmakers. And the big key for them has been no offloads from the Melbourne Storm. A big feature of the Storm's game.
The Dragons with it 15 inside their own half. Here's Lightfold. Well, Howe came rushing up out of the line, missed him. And Lightfold was able to help himself to 10 metres. Now Brown wants it out of play. He was looking for the sideline. Ross gets across. He'd be dirty on himself, missing the tackle on Blacklock. Robbie Ross, New South Wales fullback. And here's the state winger, Matt Geyer, to ground in the Ainscough tackle. And Marcus Guy. And he thought Nathan Blacklock was worthy of a place in the New South Wales team this year. It would be sweet scoring down that right-hand side of the Melbourne team. Oh, the Storm players, Kamali was shunted out of the way. Melbourne on halfway. And Kamali high kick again. Patton. Well, he's only had 1 blemish today, Luke Patton. That led to a try in the first half. Away goes Luke Patton.
That's great stuff there from Luke Patton. I mean, just a big turnaround. Whoa,
inside for Blacklock. He's away. It's all over. Nathan Blacklock. Here comes the 3rd consecutive double at Olympic Park. He slides in to score. Don't worry about forward. Blacklock has scored again. It is all over.
Well, all the Melbourne Storm players, when that pass was thrown, they looked at the referee, they looked at the touch judge, looking for something, anything. It all started from Luke Patton. A great return of the football from him. He's made 30 metres straight up the middle, and then from here, the Melbourne defence, look at it, it's all over the place. No, it was fine. The pass went backwards. That was fine. And away goes Blacklock again. She's all over.
I think they were looking for Bill Harrigan to make the tackle. They were at 6s and 7s. A great catch and run by Patton. And these two fellas in the middle of the field from broken play are an awesome combination. Blacklock lives for Mundine to get his hands on the football in broken play. Mundine knows you'll be there. And this young man is making a habit of scoring tries, and particularly down here at Melbourne. He'll slide all the way to the dead ball line, slap himself in the water. How good's life in Melbourne at the moment?
And Bartram has a kick from in front with no pressure on him whatsoever. His side in front by 16. The clock against the Melbourne Storm. Bartram bangs it over anyway for good measure. Well, Laurie Daly at 28-10. This effort of Nathan Blacklock, it's Brett Kenny-like here at Olympic Park. Third time he scored 2 tries against the Storm.
It certainly is, Vossi. He didn't get the Dally M Winger of the Year for nothing. He hangs around the middle of the park, and when the forwards are tired, he certainly takes advantage.
22 tries for the year. Coming on the back of 20 last year. What strike power that the Dragons have in their back line. And now we start to look at the equation in this finals makeup. Smith carries almost to the 40-metre line, but that means 5th and 6th have now won.
What we've got, Andrew, is a very nervous Sydney City Roosters coach sitting next to us. He needs, for his team to survive now, he needs both Newcastle and Brisbane to get beaten by Parramatta and Brisbane respectively.
And of course, the worst case scenario for 3rd and 4th, should Newcastle win tonight and Brisbane win tomorrow, incredibly, the Storm and the Roosters would be knocked out in the first week of the finals. Incredible season it is.
Someone was telling me last night that in the AFL, since they've used this system, the team losing the 4 versus 5 semi-final has never been knocked out. You wouldn't believe it in the first year of the ARL or the NRL if that happens.
And that system's been in for, what, 35 years, hasn't it?
135 years.
Don't worry, Phil.
If you want to go on that AFL logic, they also say that 1 and 8 and 2 and 7, they don't matter anymore. They're going to wipe that away. They're going back to a top 6. So there is perhaps some history in your favour.
Yeah, I think the one thing today for St George fans, you've got a team that can win a premiership here. When they defend like this and they haven't got to chase many points, it gives them the latitude to take so many chances in attack. And with so much skill and footwork in their side, and then fellas like Mundine and Blacklock and Patton with great speed, if they're not chasing many points, they're a very hard side to beat.
It's unbelievable the turnaround in a week. Last week, you wouldn't have given 2 bob for them after they scrambled home against Manly. But today, I've been very impressed with, well, just the whole side. Their interchange bench today has been just fantastic. Like Vol, Ward, Mackay and Wishart, all very good, all very brave. In particular, Brad Mackay, he's been everywhere today.
I've got to say, Fatty, that the St George Roosters game a couple of weeks ago was a semi-final type clash, and I think it took a lot out of both sides. We felt that in the Newcastle game, and St George were obviously flat against Manly last weekend, but they've lifted themselves today, and like the Canterbury Bulldogs, St George always come good in September. They're a real good semi-final club.
The Melbourne Storm are with it inside their own half, not for long, as Marquette rushes up to the line. Rua got past 1. It was Bartram he left behind. Last tackle here for Melbourne. The game does appear lost as Anderson goes across field. Martin's going to be trapped here. This will be a changeover. I was looking across at the crowd on this side of the field there. The St George Illawarra supporters, plenty of movement. They've been dancing and singing, and in Fatty's words, the rest of the crowd are sitting there like pot plants. They've gone as quiet as possible. Probably the quietest we've ever heard the Melbourne Storm supporters here. Finals football here at Olympic Park hasn't been good for them. Tracy over the 40-metre line. Oh, this is easy for the Dragons. And Tracy carries 2 to the 30. They are in for the kill. 28-10. It's the highest scoreline against Melbourne this year. Blacklock looking for a 3rd try. Lanes go a dummy half. The red and white. Smith takes on 4 defenders. A pile-up on top of Craig Smith. Nathan Brown. Are they thinking field goal here? Barrett's in possession. They go back for Trent Barrett. The defence moved up. In fact, he's ruled against the Dragons. Well, there you hear the call of Bill Harrigan.
Yeah, he's penalised the St George fella who played the ball here from taking out the marker and stopping chasing the field goal kicker. a good read there from Bill Harrigan. I think he's had a pretty fair game. I mean, I agree with his sin binnings, because in semi-final football, some clubs really do test the referee, and he stamped his authority and said he's not going to be tested under these conditions.
Smith was the man who played the ball. He's Bowden for Melbourne. Robbie Ross. That is the shot of a bloke who's on the losing team today, isn't it? Robbie Ross on the bench. The ice pack. He'd be dirty on missing the tackle on Blacklock. Dragons have got the ball. Harrigan reckons they passed it straight to the Dragons player, McGregor. He accepted it gratefully. And the Dragons are 35 metres out. At 28 points to 10, Bartram passes up for McGregor. Started the scoring today with a first try, first half. And Nathan Brown. Here to Blacklock. Exclusively now in the centre of the park. Ainscough with 3-on-1. Ainscough passes here for Wishart. Can't handle. And Melbourne come back with it, and now they're over the sideline.
We're going to play the knock on.
Yeah, another chance there for the Dragons to run in another try, but on that occasion the ball went behind Rod Wishart. There was just no numbers at all out here for the Melbourne Storm. And it's happy days. There's hundreds of them out here, the St. George Illawarra players. If it's in front of Rod Wishart, he's got support on the inside, and there would have been another try.
And today's
I mean, there are some things in football you can't control, and obviously Melbourne didn't have any control over the draw. They played a lot of the poorer sides coming into the finals. They had a week off the last round of the premiership. They weren't in good form. You can't get that right on the training paddock. You need hard football, and St. George have shown the benefit of good, hard, close matches against quality opposition. And really, other than when St. George were down to 11 men, Melbourne haven't looked in the football game today.
From passes there for Mundine. They're with it, 30 out. I get the feeling there is another try in this Dragons side as Ward tackled. 29 out. And now Mackay. Infield for Smith. Don't underestimate the efforts of a man like Craig Smith today. There's an offload back for Mackay, 15 out. Looking very threatening right now. Timmins, he runs for another 10 metres. Taken from behind by Marquette. Mundine and Bartram. Standing there and taking on the defence. I'm looking almost around for Blacklock constantly now to see where he is in play. Mundine, Blacklock's on the inside. The ball doesn't come his way. Martin goes to the in goal and now has the job of getting back to the field of play. He does that, Tony Martin. Just by away from the 10-metre line. So the Storm's record in finals, they lost 2 of 3 last year. In fact, the first week of the finals last year, they lost to the Roosters 26-12. That was here at Olympic Park.
When you think about this effort by St. George Illawarra today, they were down to 11 men at one stage. Also, Corey Pearson hasn't played for a lot of the match. He left injured. And Lance Thompson hasn't been out there for a lot of the match either. We'll try and find out what's wrong with Lance. Haven't seen him the whole second half. So down to 15 men only. It's been just a fantastic effort. And there's the crowd, 15,500, which is pretty good down here at Olympic Park on a sodden day.
Their last home match of the year, the Melbourne Storm. Yeah, Lance Thompson only returned from quite a lengthy sit on the sidelines with a knee injury last week. We hope that it's not the same again. As Timmins has tackled 35 metres out.
The St. George centre, Paul McGregor, must get lonely out there. His winger's never with him. He's in the middle of the field hunting up the ball.
Well, he's dead centre right now on the inside of Anthony Mundine. There's Anthony, passes inside and Blacklock wasn't there. And the Storm are away, Kamali. He's got 30 to go, 20 to go. Barrett gets there behind, the halfback battle. And Kamali tackled, 15 out. Now it goes to Nicow, then for Gaia. They weren't onside the Dragons and they're tackled 10 out. He had to penalise him. Quick restart there for Gaia. 28-10, the Dragons in front. And just under 3 remaining. Swain a dummy half, Kamali. And Marquette has lost it. So the Dragons away. At any other time it'd be serious business, that pass from Mundine looking for Blacklock inside. It was almost comical though, when you lead by 18. He just threw it inside without looking and Blacklock was 2 or 3 metres away.
Yeah, Mundine going across the field, common play there. Kamali read it well. Great chase by St. George though. They've got this game wrapped up, but Trent Barrett, man on man, says, "No, that's my man, number 7." Raced back and got him. St. George got back quickly. And now Mundine steps his way through the side again, and here they go.
Great footwork, exhilarating play from Mundine. McGregor kicks inside. Here he comes again. They've got it again. Blacklock claims a try, and they've got it. That is incredible. Scintillating from the Dragons, and Blacklock has a hat-trick.
And the Saints go marching in. Here they come. Footwork again. Hands and feet has been the call for St. George today. Mundine out on halfway, steps inside, around and back inside. Left foot step, good hands, finds McGregor, and there's Blacklock, his right winger. He's not on the outside, he's about 30 yards away on the inside with his hand in the air, kicks across field, a great take, and scores the try, and a lovely way to finish the game.
Well, it's some very tired and sad defence, isn't it, out there from the Storm at the moment. They're getting a bit of a touch-up here at the hands of St. George Illawarra today. And in the second half, it's been the Mundine and Blacklock show. They've both played terrific second halves when they've had plenty of ball and plenty of room to run in. McGregor doesn't kick that often, but this is the old centre kick that you're taught in the under-8s. Do your best, boy. In he goes, and Blacklock, lovely try to finish off what's been a great afternoon for them here.
One of the real stars of our game, Nathan Blacklock, a great entertainer. And he finishes with 3 tries, all in the second half for Nathan Blacklock.
Well, all that black and blue on his jerseys from sliding into the in goal on the big handset sign. We wouldn't have got too much in our day, Fatty, sliding across the line there.
With 3 from 3. The scoreboard attendance already got up 34. Bartram bangs it over. It's almost an embarrassing scoreline against the Melbourne Storm. They haven't tasted anything like this all year. And here's the kick of Paul McGregor. And this is just wonderful. Mesmerising from the Dragons. And now we get to the final seconds. And McGregor will take the last tackle. So, 5th one last night, that was Canterbury, and now 6th are on the winner's sheet as well. The St. George Illawarra Dragons, they are through to next week of the finals, as convincing as it comes over the Melbourne Storm, 34 points to 10. And we will take a break. Paul Horton and Phil Gould to wrap things up, and Laurie Daly will have our $1,000 hard yakka man of the match.
Because the revolution